NHRD's Pune's YouTube channel. I'm Neena Kamal, bringing you the latest episode of PeoplePoint. Today's our guest is a master of change. He experiments with his surroundings to learn how the change affects us. For example, he traveled without any cash or credit cards for 7 days to learn how we build trust and relationships with strangers and seek for help. Then, once to build resilience through adversities, he lived in Mumbai slums for a year. He pushed his body through a rigorous water only diet, not liquid, water only diet for 26 days to understand how our mind works. He bicycled from Kanyakumari to Kashmir solo um, to understand how self motivation works and how we can expand our grit. He uses the learnings from such experiments uh, to help businesses to resolve issues through his consulting firms. Many business leaders have benefited from it. And it is my pleasure today to welcome Advait Dikshit on this show. Advait, a very warm welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Neena. Thanks for having me.
Great. So, Advait, we will start with what I found unique in the work you do. Is you've been consulting now for 20 plus years, but every time you look at an opportunity, you want to discuss what is the end goal, and you don't want to discuss an activity or method for that matter. That's what your starting point is. So can you tell me what difference you find in perspectives of business leaders or HR leaders when they come and talk to you about a work proposition?
Yeah, let me see how I can put it. So HR I find is very eager to teach. They have some concepts, they have some ideas, and they're very excited about teaching them and implementing them. The business is eager to solve. They have problems they're dealing with. They want to solve the problems. They're not so much interested in the vehicles which will solve the problem. They just want to know how you're going to solve my problem. Like if I'm a patient, if I go to the doctor and if I say I have a stomach ache, the patient is less interested in what you call the disease and what's the latest research. The patient wants to know, okay, which pill should I have and how long will it take to get that problem off? The other thing is that uh, the HR wants to tell the business that I really am committed to make you grow.
Okay.
And the business wants to tell the HR what I'm interested in making my business grow.
Okay.
Okay. And the other one is pretty straightforward. Communication of HR would be, I know you better than you know yourself.
Okay.
And therefore, I am the person who will really detect your blind spot and will and do all that. Well, the business is telling the HR, well, but I understand the business that you will ever know.
Okay.
And so these are the different points of views. And I think in my business, I have met some HR who have frustrated me no end. People are people, right? Some people frustrates us, some people we get inspired by, and that's just the way it is. Uh, but I know many HR folks who have actually inspired me and who are my role models. And what they do is they're clear that they're out here, their very existence. And by the way, let me make this clear. Yes, HR has good concepts because they're outside the system, they can view the system better. That because they come from a people orientation, that's the missing piece sometimes in business, which they can bring in. But the role models I have in the HR are people who are primarily see their role as helping the business to change,
Okay.
helping the business to grow.
Okay.
Yep. So that will be the distinction that I will make between the two.
Fantastic. Advait, I've been hearing it quite a lot from HR fraternity my peers or my seniors from HR, that many of them realize the importance of having business focus or business centricity in HR going forward. And what I want to ask you as a complete outsider, as a complete third party, as an observer, is that can you describe different ways by which HR can build this problem solution kind of a like approach rather than just like a concept based approach? Are there any tricks?
I'm sure there are some tricks and there are some strategies. But before the tricks and strategies should come the context.
Okay. Okay.
All right. And the context is decisive. And the context guides everything. So for example, if there's a whiteboard and there is a black dot, and I ask someone, do you see the black dot? And they say, yeah, I see the black dot. And then I ask the question, okay, what makes you see the black dot? And they say, oh, because I have eyes and because there is light in the room and all that, all that. And all those answers are valid. But the most scientific answer and the most powerful answer is this: the black dot is visible because the background is white. Context is decisive. Okay, so the context that I think as I said, the people in HR that I respect, their default context is this. And before I actually share the context, let me quote a line. I started my career working in a call center. Okay, and in the call center, this was a very famous line. And it's a profound line. It may appear simple, and I was fooled by its simplicity, but over the years, it's just growing on me. Like different layers of that is opening up for me. And the line is this: people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so you asked the question, what should HR do? Well, we have to, as HR or as facilitators, as consultants, like our primary context should be, yes, I have something to offer you. Yes, I have some information, some knowledge, some insights I can bring to the table. But why should the other person listen to me? There is a million bits of information floating around on the internet. Every person I meet has an opinion on things.
Absolutely.
I have 5 minutes available. How do I get to decide whom to listen to? And why should I listen to somebody when I'm not even sure if that's going to be helpful for me or not? So, one of the most important ways that I can get someone's ears, which is the time, and get someone to trust me, to at least listen to me, to at least consider what I'm saying, is to let that person know that I really care for that person's well-being. And by well-being, I mean the person's business. That's where the other person's well-being lies. When I'm talking to a leader, his primary well-being is, if my business is doing well, I'm doing well. So do I really care that his business does well? That has to come first. And if I can demonstrate that repeatedly under all conditions, even when I don't feel like it, then I can build that trust. And then that person becomes willing to listen to me. And then we can have a conversation. So I think that's the critical one. Right. So let me give you another example. This is very fresh.
Okay.
It happened about 2 weeks ago. It's about a leading bank in India. One of the leaders of the business who handles the IT transformation as well as the operations for the entire business calls me up and says, he sends a WhatsApp and then he says, okay, I'll put you in touch with this person from the HR because that's our policy. It has to come from HR and they'll call you up. And we have selected 40 people from within the organization who are going to be our future leaders. And we're going to really groom them for the next 3 years and all that. So great. I mean, I was bloody excited for two reasons. One is like, oh, you're trusting me with them. Very nice. And then, they are 1440. So yeah, they're going to be the future of the organization. So I said, okay. And then we organize a Zoom call. And then the Zoom call comes from HR, right? And there are these two people up there. And I think, wow, we're going to have some deep conversation now. Because it was a kickstart for the program. I thought, wow, we're going to have some profound conversation now. What are the one or two things we should focus on? And then how we should kind of flesh it out, and how those 2 hours, including this director's talk, will then feed into or set the context for the coming 1 to 2 years of the growth that's got nothing of that. First question.
Okay.
What activities will you do, Advait? Like in the first 15 minutes, and then
Okay.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I see.
And I just thought it was so unfortunate. So yeah, so what activities are going to do? So what I find is that oftentimes in and it's not just HR, it's like all human beings, all of us get trapped into the what business, the business of what. Oh, I want to diet. Hey, tell me, what should I eat, yeah?
Okay.
Okay, got it. It's important. What should you eat? But what's even more important is, why is it you want to diet? And the answer is not obvious. Why is it you want to diet? It is really not obvious. If I really dig deep on each 10 people who ask me, I want to diet, yeah, tell me otherwise what to do. And if I really dig deep and spend 5 minutes with them, each of them will come out with a unique answer. And it's surprising, but that's how it is.
True.
And so the real importance is in, why do you want to do something? And once I get a grip on why I want to do something, then actually it informs the conversation about what to do. It makes it more specific, it makes it more nuanced, it makes it more applicable. And so that why, and the reason the why doesn't get asked, there could be many reasons, but two that come top of my mind is, one, what is an easy question to ask? One doesn't have to think through. So I can be doing some work on my Excel sheet, and I have a call with this consultant at 5 minutes at 6 o'clock. 5 minutes to six, I'm finishing some data entry on Excel sheet, and then at 6 o'clock I can pick up the call. And the easiest thing to say is, "Kya
What?
karoge batao?"
Correct.
Easy, no, I don't have to think anything what to do. But if I have to ask, if I have to share with them why is it we are doing something, then the Excel happen get over 30 minutes before that call. And I have to really think it through. So it could be some time constraint. I get that. Everyone's burdened with time. Fair enough. But what I'm saying is, in many ways, not spending that time figuring it out, why is it that this person, why is it that we're doing that one? I'm just doing that particular bank's example, that, okay, we are going to spend that 3 hours together. Why are we doing this?
True.
How does that really contribute? What are the couple of things we can focus on? So that conversation goes missing, the why.
I actually have two thoughts in my mind before we go to the next question. The first thought is probably what is a you question, whereas why is a I question.
Interesting.
So when you ask what, you're asking the other person's responsibility. When you are saying, why am I doing this? Why are we requiring this particular intervention? It is for me to share something, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
That is my.
That's so true. And what happens is, if when I as a consultant ask, but why you want to do that, then oftentimes there is not really a deep answer. And oftentimes there is not a willingness to explore that either. I once met a guy who is a facial surgeon who works with women, because I think statistically more women have that. It's called cleft lips. It's like your lips become like that. You're born like that. You must have seen, right? And then they have lots of problems. They are teased at school. Marriage is a problem. So he used to be a plastic surgeon working with the film industry people. And then at 40, he said, forget all this.
No.
I want to work in this area. So I have to really feel satisfied with what I'm doing, right? So he gave me this example. I met him on one of my treks. And he said, यार लोग आते हैं मेरे पास आजकल क्या है ना, सब गूगल वाले पेशेंट है, तो ऐसे गूगल करके आ जाते हैं और फिर मेरे को पूछते हैं, डॉक्टर साहब आप ये करोगे क्या, आप ये प्रोसीजर करोगे क्या, ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला. एंड आई टेल देम, लिसन, you do as much research as you want. Do your research to figure out if I am the guy for you. not what I'm going to do.
Yes.
Am I the guy for you? Do as much research as you want, ask as many people as you want. Once you decide I'm the one for you, which you do outside my clinic, once you walk into my clinic, and if you've decided I'm the person, then ask me. Don't tell me what I should be doing and not doing. And I think that's the other thing that goes missing for HR, right? So, okay, if are you going to look at some proposal in the sense 12 baje ye activity, 3 baje ye topic, all these topics are available for free on the internet. If you're going to look at that and decide, well, then for a person like me, it doesn't interest me at all. You do your back end research, figure out if I am the person or if someone else the person, and then bring them in. So it applies to both. I think HR should, just as I said, their relationship to the business should be, hey, I want to learn about this person and this business first. Take a real deep dive into that, and then bring my expertise to the table. I think the HR should do that also with consultants. That, hey, first let me understand if he's worthy enough as a person, as an expert. And once I figure out he's worthy enough, then listen. HR sits right in the middle of business and the world.
Yes.
So there are two options. Either they can say, I know everything and tell me what are you going to do to the facilitators, and say, I know everything and tell what the business has to do. No, that kind of wouldn't work. It has to be the other way around. I'm only a facilitator sitting in between the business and the world. And I think that's the fundamental shift that needs to occur.
Brilliant. I really like that. Uh, Another thought which I was thinking, please, most of the times HR looks at things as events. So there is that event, like obsession, that there is a change management event, there is a diversity event, there is a leadership development event. And I think we need to look at it rather from either a process point of view or a solution point of view. What do you think?
Yeah. I think that's a great point. It didn't occur to me consciously, but thank you for bringing it on. Yeah, event versus process, or content versus process. And because looking at an event is an easier thing to do, because the same question gets asked, what's happening?
What is happening? What is
See,
it?
what is happening? What is happening is the event. What are you doing is the content, right? Simple, easy to ask. What will you do and what's the event? What will you do and what's the event? What will you do and what's the event? So yeah, and we can do that. But every time the HR does that, the value of the HR within the organization, and let me be bold here, will be diluted and marginalized eventually over time. Because events can be outsourced now. I don't have to get anyone on board into the organization. All events can be outsourced if that's the only contribution. Yeah.
That's a really thought-provoking statement.
Question there. So if HR has to keep themselves relevant, then it has to be relevant for the business, because no, I mean, it's a friction otherwise.
Right. I agree. So Advait, actually we do something called as rapid musings, which is like a fun way to know your thoughts about various areas. And let's see. You ready?
Not too difficult, right?
No, not really. So quick answers, okay? What is one change HR needs to make in current times?
I need to learn.
That is what HR needs to say.
To themselves.
Okay. Interesting. What is your favorite people-related book? I didn't want to call it HR book.
Simon Sinek. Why?
Why? Okay. Any reason? Anything quickly?
Yeah, because unless I don't ask the question why, I really don't get to understand the motivation of other people's behavior. Unless I don't understand the motivation of people's behavior, I can't address the issues at hand.
Excellent. Who's your professional role model and what you learned from them?
Elon Musk. He creates the biggest problems that can be created and is willing to fail achieving it, because he realizes achieving the goals is less important than choosing the right goals and walking on that path. All innovation springs from that. And more than innovation, all meaning in life springs from that.
Great perspective, Advaith. Okay, next question. What do HR professionals need to stop doing?
Stop asking the what, start asking the why more often.
We already agreed that. Great. And what do you think is the most essential people skill? So when you are dealing with other people, as a manager, as an HR person, as a business leader, what is one skill which is required?
Suspend judgment, observe more.
Oh my God. You're giving me goosebumps, Advait. Suspense judgment is such a powerful term.
And observe more.
Observe. Very nice.
Because I'm unable to observe if judgment is running in my head. So when I first stop judging, then I can just observe things dispassionately. And then when I do that, just focus on observation, then a lot of interesting things come up. But first I have to tear down that curtain of judgment.
Very powerful. Brilliant. So Advait, today I know you are currently in Rishikesh training.
Yeah. I have a choti also, which you can't see. It's beyond the screen.
Okay. And
no, my big climb.
Big climb next year.
It's a 7,000 meter mountain. You should go and check it on the YouTube. It's one of the most beautiful mountains in the world. It's called Amadablam. It's in Nepal. It's a very technical mountain. And Amadablam means the embrace of the mother. How lovely, no?
It is beautiful.
And it looks like an embrace. It looks like embrace, like that. Check it out, Amadablam.
So Advait, wish you all the best for that. And I'm sure that will...
Thanks. I need it because I could fail. It's way beyond my capacity right now. And I may fail, and that's fine. But it'll make this year very, very meaningful, training hard for it.
And what is exciting for all of us is that we get to hear some learnings out of it from you.
Yes, yes, that's it.
Thank you so much for doing this despite where you are, and we thank you for joining us here.
You're welcome, Neena, and thanks for having me, really. That whole, the suggestion you gave a couple of days ago came out of the blue, and it's exciting. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So thank you everyone for watching this, and please share, comment, subscribe, and do let us know what you like about any episode, what your suggestions are, and thank you for joining us. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See ya.